3 weeks ago, my sister, technically my half sister, she lost her brother in the middle of the night. It was a tragic car accident.
Oh my God.
And right when I found this out, I reached out to her. I've been talking to her ever since. She has a child, and she's been with her partner for a long time. And she's like, she messaged me. She's like, how did you handle this? She's like, all I feel right now is just darkness. And I have to sit here and be strong for everybody else, but I don't even know how to be strong for myself. Like, what does it feel like? Does this pain ever end? And I bluntly told her, no, it improves over time, but that it's like missing a limb, missing a piece of you. And for me, my brothers and I were very, very close growing up. My parents both worked 2 full-time jobs. So at 12 years old, I started essentially babysitting them for the majority of the time. So I made them dinner. I changed their diapers. Like, we were bonded and we were so protective over each other. And, we would see other people interact with their siblings and watch them fight with each other. And in our minds, we're like, what are you doing? You don't fight with your brothers. We were a cohesive unit. So losing that trio, was just heartbreaking and unbelievable at the same time. And I remember finding out. I had sat down for Thanksgiving dinner at my parents' restaurant. We were waiting for the family to come out. Now, my brother and I had unfortunately not been on the best terms as a result of some things. So that morning, before I got to the Thanksgiving, I sent him a message. I just said, hey, bro, love you. I'm looking forward to seeing you tonight. And it was something along the lines like, hey, there's no point in fighting. We're family. Apparently, he had already passed. So he never got that text message. Anyways, so I'm sitting down for dinner.
Sorry.
And my other brother all of a sudden gets this stone cold look in his face. And he's like, signals me. And he's looking at his phone. We go into the kitchen in the back. And he shows me a Facebook status that says Rip Brent. That was my brother's name. And I'm like, what? Like, what do you mean Rip Brent? Like, I'm looking at a Facebook status talking about my brother no longer being here. And I'm just like, what's going on? And I just screamed out. And my family comes running in the back. And she's like, what's going on? And I'm just like looking, and Tico's like, we need to find Brent. According to this, he's not with us anymore. So we started calling around to friends. Turns out he had passed away in the middle of the night, and we were never notified. His girlfriend, there's some weird situations around it, which I don't want to necessarily get into, but let's just say when the roommate came home, Brent was laying there dead, and his girlfriend and her ex-boyfriend were there, and they were cleaning things up. And when asked why they were cleaning things up, like his marijuana and stuff, the girl's frantically about to call 911, and they say, oh, well, we don't want him to get in trouble. And she's like, get in trouble? He's dead. Like, what is a dead person going to get in trouble for weed? So needless to say, we found he had a safe full of money. That money was gone. And within 2 weeks, this girl and her boyfriend moved to Florida. And police determined that there was not enough information to investigate it. This
not enough to investigate?
Yeah, that's correct. They said it was all circumstantial, and they have no reason to believe that his death needs to be looked into. So it was my mother was calling other police departments. I mean, I guess I don't want to get too far into that, but needless to say, that night we found out he was in the morgue. We're asking if we can see him because we want, it's almost like you don't believe it. So, but they wouldn't let us see him because they already knew who he was. So you don't have to, I guess, identify at that point. And I remember I drove straight to the Joliet, what was it, where they had his body, and everything was closed, but I'm like banging on the doors, and I'm just like just fucking let me see my brother, please, please let me see my brother. Sorry, give me a second, please. So
It's okay.
and holy shit.
It's completely understandable.
Remember texting my friend and saying, man, Brent's dead. And he texted me back and was like, what did he do? And I'm like, no, he's dead. He's not here anymore. And holy shit, it was, wow. I'm sorry, Jenna. Shit.
Feel it.
It was just like this immense darkness that you can't overcome. And all I could feel is responsible for the fact that I wasn't able to protect him. And yeah, I failed. That's how I feel to this day. I feel like I failed my little brother, and I should have been there to protect him. And I wasn't. And that has eaten at me all the time. And
how much?
I just, after that, I sunk, and I didn't know how to deal with it. And I resorted to some irresponsible means, and just everything went to hell. It's just like, how does this happen? And dude, if he was here, man, he'd probably be a podcaster too. The guy was so fucking smart. He not only like skipped a grade, he graduated early. Like, he just absorbed everything. The guy was fucking brilliant. So losing a sibling is, to me, like one of the absolute worst feelings you could ever feel. I mean, granted, I guess can't compare it to everything because I've never felt anything, but
you could say that it's the worst thing you've ever felt.
Yeah, it is the worst thing I ever felt. And the problem was, people remind you each and every day. And that's, I guess, for me, I don't like that. So I'm always, when I talk to someone who is dealing with death, I will like say to them, hey, I'm here if you need to talk. I just send them messages like, how you doing? Checking up on you. Because from my stance, you don't need a constant reminder every 5 seconds. And because I was in the public light working in the restaurant, everyone knew him. Around the DJ industry, most people knew him. And it was, oh, how are you doing since your brother died? Like, just continually. And it's like, guys, like, I don't need this brought up every 5 seconds. So that's what I would suggest other people do, is be mindful of the conversations you start. You may be curious, you may want to ask questions, but you shouldn't always ask what happened. If someone wants to tell you what happened, leave it up to them to tell you. If they want to talk about the subject, let them talk about it. But do your best not to routinely poke and prod and directly ask about what it felt like to lose that person, because it's difficult. And, my mom, for example, that was one of the reasons they got rid of the family restaurant, because every day, every customer that came in, because she essentially built like a small community of regulars that came out, it was just coming in and hugging her every day, which is great. But she's like, I can't handle this. I don't need to be reminded every 5 minutes that my son is no longer with us. I just went on a tangent there. I apologize. I was not prepared to do that. So
you're on a talk show talking about death. Not many people have done that before, and sounds like you needed to get this off your chest. So I'm just glad that you were able to.
I'm
I
I'm glad I was able to too, because I mean, if this were a year ago or 2 years ago, I would have never allowed myself to cry on camera, because you know it's a weakness. You got to just tough it out. So I'm glad I was comfortable enough to just express myself and not give a shit.